What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 155 or 155. Jesus Christ, this is a cluster already. 159 of Ghost in the Night, a true crime, a paranormal and true crime. I don't even know what
A podcast where they talk about stuff. I'm me and that's him, and we talk about stuff. Welcome, you fucking chutch bags.
a paranormal and true crime podcast. I am Phil, and Travis is to my left or your right, whichever way you want to look at it.
Who fucking cares?
Who cares?
We're all in a goddamn simulation in the fucking Matrix.
Tonight,
God is dead and the Satan is real.
I want to talk about that. I want to talk about simulation for a second before we get started. But just everybody, tonight's or this episode's all about Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and the UFO or alien connection. If you followed any kind of ufology, I guess you've heard of Wright-Patterson.
Ufology.
We're gonna dive into that here in a minute. But
you can always also throw in some paranormal shit with this too.
Yeah, and I got a little bit
the Indian burial grounds.
Yeah, I got
the guy's house.
I have a little bit of that. No, we've never been probed.
Not by an alien,
Not by an alien. Where was I? Fuck, that's what gets me.
Getting probed by aliens in the butthole.
Before we get started, you mentioned simulations. Simulation theory, that we're just living in a simulation. Now, have you seen the videos about people catching I would say more of a glitch?
Gonorrhea?
No, a glitch in the Matrix, like airplanes just standing still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. I have a story.
Or like birds like glitching while they're flying.
I have a fucking story. Sunday, I was going somewhere. I was going somewhere. I had to run somewhere. I was going down a road by the airport, regional airport right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I was on the other side of bypass 4.
Okay.
Driving. I looked. I saw a plane very low. And I was okay, going on approach. And as I was looking at it, now it is coming to, it's going towards the airport. I'm going away from the airport.
Okay.
I looked at it, I was like, that motherfucker's not moving.
And
I kept looking at it. And, if I'm traveling 60 miles an hour, which I was because I had to pass 2 dump trucks.
It'll take you an hour to go 60 miles.
Yes. Thank you for that. The math lesson we had. But if I'm going 60 miles an hour, because I had to pass some trucks, and this plane is going, I don't know how fast planes go.
1,000,000 miles an hour.
But on descent to this airport, it should look like it's accelerating because we are going in opposite directions, correct?
Yeah.
It looked like it was sitting still. And as I was driving past, I was looking at it. I mean, I'm literally turning my head like this. What in the fuck? At first, it caught my attention because it was so low. I was like, it's a little low for the approach. I mean, I was on Union Center on the other side of Sims.
Okay.
Heading towards like 747.
I have a feeling I know where you were going.
Right. By like Ranger and all that.
I know where you were going. You were going to get a burrito, weren't you?
That's not important right now.
You son of a bitch.
That's not important. But I was like, this son of a bitch is not moving. It should be going. I mean, it's just there. And I drove past. I said, I have to turn around and take a video of this. But I was like, no, I'm hungry. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
And I know in my mind there has to be.
It's not important, but I'm hungry.
There's a rational explanation for this. It was decelerating or something. It was not standing still. It is impossible because I don't know much about aerodynamics, but I know how a plane gets lift. Air going over the wings causes lift. If you're not traveling fast, air doesn't go over the wings and you fall like a fucking rock. Correct? Pretty much. That's the layman's.
Yeah.
So, but for some reason, it had to have been an optical illusion.
Now we're talking.
It had to have been an optical illusion of some sort, but it looked to be like it was just hovering right there. A plane, it wasn't a jet. What goes in there? A private type plane, a Cessna type. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. It should have, going. And I saw a plane today coming home, going, and
I saw one landing when I was coming home too.
I was looking. It was like you could tell it was moving. This plane looked like it was just stuck in midair.
Maybe it caught a headwind. and it was just
maybe, I don't know. It had to. That's the only explanation. It's impossible, because if it's frozen in time, why the fuck am I moving? You know what I'm saying? If there's a glitch in the matrix, I should be.
Maybe you got some bad ergot.
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, but that's it. You know, I've seen some others. You know, and that's not too far. Remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about, we both kind of saw something different. We weren't together, but
yeah,
in that general vicinity. Just, you know.
See, and that's what, like, it's hard to fucking lend any credence to it just because there is a fucking private airport there, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I don't know.
There has to be a reason. I haven't really researched. I've seen some videos and I've heard people talk about this phenomena. I've not researched it. There has to be a scientific reason, or optical illusion, something. Something to cause it. It is, or there's a glitch in the matrix, and I'm the only real person on this planet. This is my reality.
Or it was a flying saucer and it was just kind of chilling.
But it's kind of interesting. And we are, for people who don't know, we are in Ohio. Wright-Pat is in Dayton, Ohio, just probably 25 miles up north, 30 tops, 30 like that. 30 miles.
Maybe the pilot had to take a shit and he just put it in park real quick.
Maybe.
That'd be some shit. That should be in a fucking movie. She's like, oh, I gotta pee. Hold on. And they just fucking, the plane just fucking stops, and everybody's like, wait, what the fuck? And he's like, I didn't tell you that I owed you an explanation for all the science.
I know what happened.
What?
The pilot was up there. The passengers were getting rowdy. He said, don't make me pull this plane over. He had to go back and whoop some ass.
He's whooping some ass.
He pulled it over and whooping some ass.
He was and out the trash bag so he could throw away their toys.
Or it's a secret U.S. military plane with super technology that has hoverability.
Also,
that's more plausible than it just stuck in midair and there's a glitch in the matrix. It's just weird. It kind of freaked me out. I was like, and I was kicking myself in the nuts for not pulling over.
I don't know. I'm kind of stoned. All I can see in my head is the pilot just like because an airplane would have the same like fucking column shifter as like an SUV back in the day.
Or maybe we have a kind of like a Bermuda Triangle thing going on over here in Southwest Ohio.
I don't know. You think you have to put the emergency brake on too?
Probably. All right.
Like, oh man.
But you know,
he comes back with like a Slurpee and a Slim Jim from nowhere.
Yes, but weird things have been sighted or seen in the sky around here. You know, just for the mere fact, our proximity to Wright-Pat. And we'll kind of get into that. But before we get into Wright-Pat, let's talk some paranormal, or not paranormal, some crazy headlines.
Okay.
I got two here that I want to discuss with you real quick. Get your opinion on. Okay, first one. It has nothing to do with UFOs, nothing to do with paranormal. I just found this amusing, and
excellent.
I thought Travis would like this. It's right up his his alley.
The alley is a much less traveled route.
Yes. Okay. Sex toy sponsorship was too racy for curling crowd.
Curling.
You know,
like curling with the brooms and the Olympics. Big rock and the Canadians.
Yes. Winter Olympics.
Okay.
Go
on.
A Dutch sex toy company attempted to reach fans of the wholesome sport of curling, led some broadcasters to cancel their live stream of a tournament that will determine the final spots in the Beijing Olympics.
Why?
Local organizers of the Olympic qualification event in the Netherlands said that they were told that on-ice ads with the Easy Toy name, that's the Easy Toy is the name of the sex toy company.
Yeah.
And their not explicit logo were too much for the U.S. audience. How much of pussies are we? What kind of Karen that's watching curling?
I mean, is there a picture of a giant fucking like silicone fist on it?
Right. I know. It even says what I just said. I just read it. The Easy Toy name and a non-explicit logo.
So there's not like 3 guys fucking 4 guys.
Right.
Who fucking cares?
Because
I bet you they wouldn't have given a fuck if it was Durex.
This is why everybody hates us. We are the most hated country in the world. It's not because we are the world police and we like to bully everybody. No, it's because we don't allow pornography on air.
It's because we're the Russia of ethics.
Yes, we are the bunch
Like
of
we'll go
fucking
shoot
assholes.
up your fucking whole country, but we go home and sleep in separate beds from our wives.
But I can see it if
there was a giant
dildo
fucking
or-
black dildo,
on
yeah,
there,
like
yeah, I can see it. Or going into an anus or something, or into a
Right.
vagina or something. I don't know.
right. Like,
Or hand grenade butt plug. I
that's what I'm
get it.
saying. Like if there was something explicit on, but who gives a fuck? Most people aren't gonna know what it is anyway.
I know.
Because I seriously doubt there's that many people that look up fucking all the Like I've never watched a hockey game because hockey, at least for a while, had a fuckload of sponsorships on their boards.
Yeah.
And I never watched hockey and was like, oh, what's that place? Let me look that up. Not fucking once have I found a new goddamn proprietor of things from watching sports.
Right.
Ever. I've never watched a football game and been like, oh, I want to check that out.
I can't say never.
Well,
but
it doesn't count if you already know what it is. Just because they're like, the McRib is back, and you go get a McRib doesn't mean that counts.
I get you. I understand.
That stupid goddamn sandwich.
But how fucking lame are we?
It's so yeah, especially because they said the American audience, which I believe. It doesn't surprise me that we would be the ones to be like, that's terrible.
Right.
I don't want my children watching. And also, can we also stop and think? This one just popped into my mind. Who gives a fuck? It's curling. What do you have, like 3,800 people watching at any given time worldwide? And then that goes up and down, and it all just depends on when the commercial breaks on other channels stop.
I will admit, during the Winter Olympics, I will watch some curling.
I won't. It'll be on. It doesn't mean I'm watching it.
Oh, I will.
It'll be on. I'm like on fucking Instagram or some Grinder or something. Farmersonly.com.
I find it fascinating. Every 4 years.
I don't.
Them little guys.
It seems exactly the same every 4 years.
Them little guys with the brooms just jacking themselves off real hard.
I noticed that they have the little slidey plate on one foot and they don't on the other. And ever since then, I was like, I no longer care. And I watched every once in a while when that brother sister was on there just because the brother had like fucking like Jordan, like customized Jordans for fucking curling.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how many people, like that's my number one thing. How many people are you really going to offend? But I guess that makes sense because of the 3,800 people that are watching while Supernatural is on commercial break, and then the 15 that are watching after Supernatural comes back from commercial break, every single one of them is probably a virgin. If they're that in depth into fucking, if you're watching curling and paying attention to the sponsors of curling and not just looking down at your phone, then when you hear the announcer say something going, huh, and then looking back down at your phone like everybody watches curling.
Yeah.
The only other way you watch curling is to go curling. Nobody like sits there. I've never seen, not one time. I've worked in a sports bar for like 10 years. I've never seen somebody just sitting at their table in the middle of the fucking dining room, just like, yeah, fuck yeah. What happened? He put the rock in the smallest circle.
I will say,
fuck yeah, bro.
I will say this. I'd rather watch curling than fucking soccer any day of the week. Sorry for our European.
I'd rather watch soccer.
Oh, fuck that bullshit.
There's movement. Other than curling is just watching really slow bowling without the action. Like, who came up with that fucking sport?
If I don't watch people run, I'll just watch a marathon or people sprinting.
Yeah, but then you get to see bad acting in soccer too.
That is true.
But I want to know who comes up with this shit. Like, who came up with fucking curling?
Probably Canadians. I don't know. Somebody look that up.
Who the fuck slid a rock across ice and was like, "This is the next big thing. We've unlocked the next fucking global phenomenon." Ted, I'm gonna need you to spend an innumerable amount of hours smoothing and weighing these rocks for us and putting handles onto them. Bill Bob, I'm gonna need you to make one kind of broom. Jim Joe, I'm going to need you to make another type of broom. And the rest of you, I'm going to need you to learn how to slide without being on your knees and having your hip at a very uncomfortable angle. Curling.
All right.
That's your next docuseries. That's the next 30 for 30 on ESPN.
Enough of the curling. I do have one more article I want to talk about.
Does it also have to do with butt plugs and shit?
No, it has
Fuck.
to do more with the topic at hand for this episode.
Butt plugs and shit.
No. Apparently, the Department of Defense has formed a new fucking group for investigating and identifying flying objects. After officials said earlier this year they were unable to explain more than 100 incidents of unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, or for you older fucks like me, UFOs. The newly launched Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group,
what,
or AOIMSG.
Eat my dick. How about that? EMD, the EMD group. Eat my dick, whoever named that.
How the fuck are they going to put that on one of them nylon jackets?
In a circle. It's a circle. It never ends.
Will work with other federal departments and agencies to detect, identify, and attribute objects of interest and mitigate any associated threats to safety of flights and national security. Isn't what UTIP or UTAP or tip of the dick was after?
I don't know. Can we just agree that you should not be allowed to have an acronym that's more than
4?
I'll give you 4. For like LAPD, that makes sense. Los Angeles Police Department, I'll give you 4.
Okay.
Not 5.
Or 85 like this motherfucker. How many?
Unless you're the ASPCA. The ASPCA gets 5 because they have a great cause.
Okay, we're at 6.
And what?
This is 6.
What is it?
The AOIMSG, the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group.
The AOIMSG.
Drop the what the fuck are they synchronizing?
Right?
There are periods?
No, I think that refers to bringing all those different groups together and working together.
Oh, because the government is excellent.
See, now I'm on board. They're trying to fix the fucking stupid goddamn shit that's going on in the world. They're trying to promote synergy amongst themselves. All the the letter army of the CIA and all the other RSPQ974 fucking Sector 7 from Transformers movies, all that shit. They're trying to be synergetic, and they're trying to find a frequency on which they all move, and then they can go butt fuck themselves with these goddamn 6-letter acronyms. Yeah. That's the main point of this. Fuck you for 6-letter acronyms.
Yes.
Fuck you and your acronyms. How would it cost? $2.4 billion per letter in your acronym to fucking fund this shit on a yearly basis of our tax money, I'm assuming?
Well, I just know maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a branch of the AOIMSG group or whatever they're called, agency, up at Wright-Pat. All right, let's get to Wright-Pat.
Well, they already have a fucking an acronym there. They've got the fucking I have it right here. The Air Force Materials Commission or whatever the fuck. Command.
And they have
that's right. I just brought some random printouts because this is a fully an opinion piece officially.
And NATSIC.
I was reading
they have 2 there. And NATSIC, the
NUTSAC?
NATSIC. National Air and Space Intelligence Center.
NUTSAC.
But okay, let's get to
Nutslick.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. That's Air Force Base and placed. Oh, where was I at? Oh, placed just east of Dayton, Ohio. Built in 1917.
Yeah, it's literally like half the size of the whole fucking city.
Pretty much. The base origins begin with the establishment of Wilbur Wright Field on May 22nd and McCook Field in November of that year of
17
year of our Lord 1917.
God, I'm like a goddamn sponge. I can't remember like important shit like work stuff, but I remember stupid fucking facts.
It was established as a World War I installation. No, did we have planes that could go that far in World War I?
Planes?
Yeah, it was an airfield. Did they have planes? I guess they could.
Yeah,
but we couldn't carry a lot of it.
When Amelia Earhart was around, that was like 1922 or some shit.
Yeah, but she wasn't carrying much. Just her. I mean, to move troops and shit. Motherfucker.
Rude.
How rude. Okay, McCook was used as a testing field in aviation experiment, or for aviation experiments. Wright was used as a flying field, renamed Patterson Field in 1931. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base was established in 1948 as a merger of the Patterson and Wright fields. Now, this is a fairly important base.
Yeah.
I mean, it is
Still to this day.
To this day, and it's low key. It's very low key. If you're from this area, you'll know it's kind of low key, but it is a very important base in our security and apparently our UFO, this new organization probably. But a fun fact, in 1995, negotiations to end the Bosnian War were held at the base, resulting in the Dayton Agreement that ended the war. I was not aware of that.
Who gives a shit?
I mean, that just shows this. You think they do that somewhere like Dulles or one that's only base?
Not if you do it at the one that's got the aliens, and they're like, well, no, you stay in line, goddammit, or you're gonna get gutter fucked by the aliens. We're gonna let Scrapflick out, and he's gonna finish your butthole until it falls out.
Gonzo, it depends. Gonzo asks, "Would you ever fuck an alien?"
No.
Well, it depends on how many boobs they have.
What if they secrete acid?
Well, then we'll have to go with Sigourney Weaver then.
30 years ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, anyway. So, this gets into the UFO connection.
We're getting into something.
Now, with the... everybody's heard of Project Blue Book, which was based out of, and I'll cover this a little bit more, out of Wright-Pat. Also, Project Sign or Project Grunge in 1949 was an official U.S. government study of unidentified flying objects, which was before Project Blue Book.
That was the project that brought us bands like Nirvana and Alice in Chains, stuff like that.
Yes. We'll go with that.
Pearl Jam.
Now, we're going to get into the Roswell here in a bit, but most notably, I just mentioned Project Blue Book. Was started in March of 1952. Was the code name for a systematic study of unidentified flying objects by the United States Air Force from March of 52 and until its termination in December 17th of your favorite number, 69.
I prefer 96. I like to switch things up, keep it fresh.
Baby.
There's an old Chinese couple laying in bed. It was their anniversary. The man looks at his wife and says, "I want for anniversary 69." And she says, "Do you want chicken or pork?"
All right. Project Blue Book had two goals, namely to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. That's what they said, but that's bullshit. It had one goal. Now you got to remember, this was after Roswell.
To kidnap John Benet Ramsey.
No, its goal was
starting a new conspiracy theory by the end of this.
I know. Its goal was basically to explain these away. That was their only goal.
I mean, that's just the government's goal.
But this was blatant, and there is documented proof.
I'm surprised they even try at this point. Like, I'm surprised that people aren't like, there was a UFO attack on Los Angeles last night, and they said that you knew that they were coming as a government. Do you have anything to say about that, Secretary of Defense? About what? Alien? Nope, didn't happen. But this video shows, nope. And this audio, nope. Eyewitness testimony, nope. Next question.
Okay, you ready?
They could do that. Like, they literally could, and people, like, I bet you half the population would be like, they said it, man. Like, he's on TV. If he's on TV, it's true.
Now, thousands of UFO reports were collected and analyzed by this upright and truthful Project Blue Book. As a result of the Condon report, which concluded that the study of UFOs was unlikely to yield any major scientific discoveries. But you know what it did give us?
Movies.
Swamp gas.
Oh.
Well, actually, I think
Did you get into the? Did you read into the environmental problems too?
No, I didn't.
From the Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't write anything down, but
they were leaking alien farts out into the world.
Yes. Now, the official summary of the report: no UFOs reported, investigated, and evaluated by the Air Force was ever an indication of a threat to our national security. There was no evidence submitted to or discovered by the Air Force that sightings categorized as unidentified represented technological, easy for me to say, deployments,
gynecological,
yes, developments, and principles beyond the range of modern scientific knowledge.
So just UFOs in general.
Bullshit. There was no evidence indicating that sightings categorized as unidentified were extraterrestrial vehicles. By the time Project Blue Book ended, it had collected over 12,000 UFO reports and concluded that most of them were misidentifications of natural phenomenon. But 700.
But did they ever give any options for what kind of natural phenomenon this could be? I noticed they don't do that. They'll be like, it was a natural phenomenon. Well, what kind?
Things like shooting stars, swamp gas.
Swamp gas. Like, are you telling? See, I want to see are you telling me that if I just go down to Louisiana and I'm just like paddling around in a boat, like I'll just see random flames everywhere, like I'm in the middle of fucking like those the what is it, the fucking whatever marshes at Mordor and goddamn Lord of the Rings, where there's just fire for no reason.
Well, hey, cows aren't producing methane to. It's not the cows doing global warming with their methane. It's the motherfucking alligators in the swamp.
And it was Andre the Giant.
Yes.
Every time I talk about methane, all I can think of is Mean Gene in that Andre the Giant documentary when he was like, the sound of Andre taking a fart. Oh, it was tremendous. It would shake the walls. I was like, Mean Gene, did you just say taking a fart?
Yes, he did.
Get your geriatric ass, because he looked. I did not realize how old Mean Gene was until I saw that documentary. And I was like, somebody please take him back to his room, because I'm assuming he's living in a retirement community. He's probably sitting in a wheelchair with no pants on, but he's got a suit, jacket, and tie on.
Now, Wright-Pat, you mentioned the organizations that were there.
Mm-hmm. Which I do want to say the number one, and this one really irritates me.
Okay, go ahead.
The description of this. All right. The Air Force Material Command. Listen to this description. The Air Force my favorite kind of paint chip is Sherwin-Williams. The Air Force Material Command, or AFMC, is a major command. They include acronyms for everything, in parentheses MAJCOM, MAJCOM, of the United States Air Force, in parentheses USAF. AFMC was created on July 1st, 1992 through the amalgamation of the former Air Force Logistics Command and the former Air Force Systems Command. What the fuck does that tell anybody?
We don't know.
That you could have told me that the Air Force Material Command just like their whole job was solely to like watch battle rap videos on YouTube and eat fucking flaming hot Cheetos, and I'd be like, that I got more information from that than I did from what I just read. Because I also don't know what Air Force Logistics Command and Air Force Systems Command is. I can kind of figure it out in my head, but I didn't know those fucking things. I don't know what they handle, so how do I know what they fucking handle when you put them the fuck together?
Now, this base has had, from the beginning, been into research. The Air Force Research Laboratory, which is what you were talking about, it was to study advanced tech, And this from the beginning, 1917 is, I believe that group was developed, or that portion of the base had been around since the beginning. Now they also have the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, which is a DoD organization, and it's basically a defense against foreign and space things. Any foreign aeronautical space or foreign, the MiG-17 and all that, Russian stuff, and but they've space in there too.
Yeah, I bet you their favorite fucking inside joke is when people are like, "So what happens if something does come from space to attack us?" And they hit you with the old man shit that you stick your head between your legs, you kiss your butt goodbye.
Well, I've always said if they're coming here, if they can get here,
we're fucked.
If they want to take this planet, there ain't much we're gonna do.
And honestly, if they can get here, the chances are that I'm waiting. See, that's what I'm really waiting for this shit to actually happen. If it happens, is for like we have this idea of flying saucers and shit, and I'm just waiting for it to be more like have you ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No.
Watch that. It's hilarious. You need to watch it. It's a good book too. But I'm just waiting, or like even Men in Black, or not Men in Black, Independence Day. Like everybody's like flying saucers. This is. I'm like, no. What's gonna happen when it's just like the cartoons and shit, where like everybody's like, oh no, alien invaders, and it's like that, and it zooms out from that person all the way through the atmosphere and shit like that, and the Earth is like the size of a pin, and the spaceship is like 3/4 of the way to the fucking moon in between us, just massive as fuck, and we're like, oh, we can beat them. We got this. They can move something 38,000 times the size of our planet through space from somewhere we can't see to our planet. But we'll just have fucking what's his tits fly a plane up through the butthole of the ship and blow it up.
We got Randy Quaid,
Randy Quaid,
and Jeff Goldblum. That's all we fucking need, baby. That's all we fucking need.
And if you somehow cross break the fourth wall and cross over and throw Tommy Lee Jones in the mix with his fucking town car that could ride on the ceiling,
it's all over.
And the uncircumcised penises that can make coffee and smoke cigarettes and speak with a Spanish accent.
Yes, okay. But this, anyway, getting back, National Air Space Intelligence Center, basically, from the way I read it, pretty much was more, they were into the reverse engineering, whether it be, for, enemy technology, maybe UFO type shit.
Which I will give them that saying that lends more to the credence of truth to that to me, because I would think that's what you would be wanting to do. How are you going to beat something if you can't at least recreate it?
I'm gonna jump around here. Now let's get to the Roswell connection. Before I get to that part right there, I went out of order. Everybody's heard of the Roswell crash in 1947.
Yeah.
Now it has been reported many times that the crashed materials did make their way to Wright-Patterson Wright Field. It wasn't Wright-Patterson.
Well, and that's confirmed.
That is confirmed.
Yeah.
There is affidavits from Jesse Marcel and who
we would have a fucking picture of, but goddamn OBS doesn't work properly, motherfuckers.
And I believe also the base commander from Fort Worth.
Jean-Luc Picard?
No. Fuck. Not William Shatner either.
I don't remember his name. I don't remember his character's name.
They swore for some reason swore affidavits that that's where it was going. Marcel took it to Fort Worth, and this wasn't a ship.
James T. Kirk?
No, this wasn't
was
a
that
ship.
His name?
On Star Trek?
Yeah.
William Shatner. It wasn't a ship. This was debris, and I heard reports. I believe just the biggest piece might have been 2 foot. You could put it in a bag.
Which is also another valid point that I've always thought of, is like, how do we know we're not dealing with something like the fucking alien that was in the Jewish guy's face in Men in Black? Like, how do we know they're not teeny tiny? People be like, it was only this big. That could have been the whole ship. Everybody's like, look to the sky. You can't fucking see it if it's only a yard from end to end. And there's like 13 of them in there.
Yes. Now, Jesse Marcel was the one who actually was an intelligence officer at Roswell or whatever base that was at. I guess Roswell base. I guess I don't know. But he was the one out initially, investigated the debris site.
Yeah.
And he's the one who picked all this shit up. So naturally, they sent him. And, this is where that base commander issued the statement to the press that U.S. Air Force had. What are you looking at?
I thought there was a tripod behind me. It's the top of a bottom of an empty bottle of liquor.
It's but he went out and found this shit, and this is when that base issued the statement to the press that the U.S. Air Force had recovered a flying saucer.
So that's the other,
which we would have had a picture of as well.
Which also, fair point, is like you would think that more of this shit would come out more like people like. You would think that somewhere like a guy like that would be like 60 years old, sitting there drunk in a bar and be like, "I seen some shit, man." They're like, "Oh, you were in the war." He'd be like, "Fuck no. I picked up dead alien bodies. What the fuck are you talking about, pussy?" And then you would think that person would immediately be like, "Jim Bob Joe Jim, you got to talk to the city folks and tell them of your adventures with the alien buttholes and the fucking Swedish curling team."
Yes.
I still can't get over that curling shit. You talked about curling on this show. You son of a bitch. And I'm not allowed to bitch about Nickelback anymore, but let's have, you know what? I'm just going to give a rundown of the curling league.
No,
is it a league or is it a conference or is it just a club?
It's for the Olympics. That's
what I'm saying. Is every curler in the world just in a club because there's like 400 of them?
I don't.
And only 300 of them are active because the other 100 are like
debilitated
coaches.
Chad Kruger.
That fucking. I don't even know how to say his fucking name properly.
All right. Anyway, what was I?
K. Roger.
So Jesse Marcel collected this evidence or this debris,
which there are photos of him with some of it.
Now everybody's seen the pictures, which we would have had at Fort Worth base of the air. Or
if I had some, I should have got some aluminum foil. I could have recreated it while you were talking about it.
We jumped ahead. The Roswell base commander issued a statement about flying saucer. The next day or 2 days later, whatever, after this started taking wind, the Air Force said, let's retract this shit.
It was an air balloon. It was a weather balloon.
And when they got to Fort Worth, that's where you get the picture of the weather balloon. Now, that was their first, hey, it's a weather balloon.
I actually have, after this is over, I actually do have a secondary option for this.
Well,
I guess it'd
don't
be
worry.
Tertiary.
The Air Force came up with another reason later on, too. They can't keep the, they got to keep justifying.
Which one?
Project Mobile was another balloon, but it was for testing nuclear.
Oh, see, mine also has to do with a balloon, but it's not that one.
But they later said it was Project Mobile.
Yeah, I read about that one.
To test
there's just
atmospheric radiation if the Russians were, detonating bombs or whatever.
Yeah. There's several projects attached to this.
Right. Well, they was
anything
throwing shit out. So it went to Fort Worth, and this is where you get the iconic picture of they issued the statement of weather balloon. This is where you get the pictures of them holding up a weather balloon.
Yeah.
And Jesse, we had a picture of that too, but OBS reamed us.
Yeah, go ahead, because I just have to find the one with the headline in it, because the headline is hilarious.
But even Jesse Marcel, he was following orders. He said that wasn't what he found. This at this point is an official cover-up. They did not want the government did not want to explain to us. They were backtracking from this flying saucer.
Yes.
Now getting back to Wright-Pat, it is at this time, right? There was no Area 51. Wright-Pat probably was the Area 51 of the country at that point.
It was Area 18.
Well, we'll get to. I got a thing on that.
That comes later too.
So it is not that far fetched that it would make its way to Dayton, Ohio, with the all the research that's being done at that location. That would be where you would send it to. Of course, why would you send a weather balloon there? Really?
Right. Like, what went wrong with it? It's a fucking balloon, dick. It popped.
Some jackass with a BB gun brought her down.
Because that's all it would take.
But so the mere fact that there were sworn affidavits saying that it went to Wright-Pat by both of the people in this picture, I believe, if you go look it up.
Since we don't have it because of OBS.
Why in the world would they ship? Like I said, why would they ship a weather balloon there? They know what a weather balloon is.
Right.
So
and they know what goes wrong with weather balloons.
I mean, so it's just lies upon lies upon lies. Now, I don't know if an actual flying saucer hit the fucking ground. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Don't really give a fuck at this point in my life.
Damn it.
Anybody with any common sense knows the cover up is always worse than the lie. You know?
What's going on in Roswell? Vampires and demons.
That would have been more believable than a goddamn weather balloon. I would have bought that bullshit.
I think I have it figured out.
But my point is, this is where they would send it. So it's very possible. Now, the whole body thing. Let's get into the body thing. The government, Air Force, all people say that there are bodies at Wright-Pat from this crash.
Yeah.
That has never come from anybody in the military.
No.
That came from, just the fire department, I believe, in Roswell. Or it's not even Roswell. It's, I think, Corona.
Something like that.
It's Corona because I think Roswell's like 70 miles away from the actual crash site. Why it's called?
Oh no, but they're still making a fuckload of money off this shit.
And just the general population said they saw bodies in little coffins.
Which the general population, I doubt they were that close. And the fire department, by the time anything was really going on, I seriously doubt the fire department hadn't. They would have been either not anywhere near it by this time, or they would have been debriefed and like fucking locked away if they had something to worry about.
So,
because I mean, yes, we're talking about a long time ago, but the military complex was fully in swing by then, and if they had something, if the government had something they thought they needed to worry about, they would have locked that shit the fuck down ASAP, even back then.
Who knows about the bodies? Who fucking knows? Of course, then again, I'm not big on these UFOs or UAPs or whatever, or even piloted by organic creatures. They could be their drones.
Right.
A little RC, a little plane, some little fucking kid.
Like the birds.
Right. So, there might be bodies, there might not be. I don't fucking know. But the debris site, the crash metal or whatever from the crash, that I can almost say with some certainty, whatever crashed there ended up at Roswell. Bodies, not so much. You with me on this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, there's a lot with bodies of this whole thing, from Roswell all the way to Wright-Pat. Because there's a theory with, I don't know if it's these bodies, but there's a theory about bodies at Wright-Pat and the disposal of them.
Okay. Well, and most people don't realize this Roswell crash wasn't the only one that day. There was another crash site a few miles away.
Which is exactly why I started going down the path that I started going down with the reasoning behind this. I forget what they called them, but those floating Japanese bombs. Did you ever hear about those? That was a real thing. One landed in Oregon and killed like a woman and 5 children. Which this was they were doing this documented before the end of World War II, but we all know that people can be spiteful assholes. They were basically sending out weather balloons with explosives attached to them, and they would catch the headwinds on the Pacific and just kind of drift over. And there was only one that I know of that actually made landfall and killed anybody, but there's 2 in the same general area at the same time in the 40s.
So let me get this straight. We drop atomic bombs on your ass. Now, just to be dicks and spiteful, you're going to throw up a fucking
why not?
Chinese candle with a bomb attached to it and kill 5 people?
I mean, they did do it. But I mean, like I said, that was prior to the end of World War II, but
that's not a good show of that's like getting punched in the face.
Or maybe they just stayed up there for a while.
That's like if I punch you in the face, You just go like this to me later.
I would maybe they were just up there for maybe they've just been like circling around the world for like 3.5 years, and nobody noticed them.
Possible, I guess. It is very possible.
Maybe they're supposed to be gifts from Santa.
Very possible. I don't know.
Or whatever, whoever brings you gifts from different religions. Help me, Jewish God. Help me, Tom Cruise.
Huh.
But I started thinking about it. I was like, that's just as valid. They literally could have said that, and they probably would have had more. They probably would have had a much bigger bandwagon thing because they'd been like, yeah, fucking Japs.
Once again, don't get pissy. He is of Japanese descent,
and that's also just how. That's exactly what 95% of people in the United States would have said if you had told them that in 1947.
Right.
They would have. They would be like, they never fucking learn.
That's very possible. I mean, that would
if nothing else, why would you not use that as some type of a scapegoat? Like, it's so believable.
Well, yeah, but that would send fear into the public that there's all of a sudden just a bomb going to drop out of the fucking sky.
Yeah, at that point, they just called Japan and they're like, oh, yeah, you guys having fun with all those computers and future gaming systems you're making with our alien technology that we're sending you? Yeah, get on the horn with the United States, with Channel 5, and just tell them, oh, that's bad. We have a slight problem with the guidance system.
The wind?
I was very sorry, American people. Is the El Nino.
All right. So something went to Wright-Pat. Debris of some sort. Now, was it extraterrestrial? Was it?
Which there, yeah, like we said earlier, like there's paperwork on that. Like Japanese, shit from Roswell did go, like actually go to Wright-Pat.
Japanese cherry bombs falling from the sky. I don't know.
The oopsie.
They set them off in 41. And they finally came down in 47.
They're getting yelled at on the 1947 news, and they'll be like, "How do you expect to pay for this?" Oh, the Toshihiro, he definitely killed himself over this one. This is a big whoopsie. I told him use the abacus. He said, no, I can add it in my head. I don't know if they had calculators in the 40s.
We are so fucked.
If they did, they definitely didn't have TI-83s, which is what you need to figure out such an incredible plan.
Now, okay, we're going to get back. Whether or not bodies are right, Pat, I don't buy it. I don't fucking know. I believe there's some shit there, but I know for a fact there.
If there was, I doubt there is now.
Wright-Pat is a very interesting fucking place. There's a lot.
It's got tunnels. It's got fucking, which like that's been confirmed. But as far as what I read, a lot of that was confirmed because people started questioning why there's fucking ventilation vents on the ground.
There are definitely tunnels there. Now, I've heard...
there's tunnels under Wright State University, too. And from what I also read, those tunnels before Wright State was a thing or something were originally made to be used for something by the U.S. government from Wright-Pat.
Right. But under all bases, I'm sure there's tunnels and everything.
And no, we didn't change rooms. We got actual lights. We're stepping our game up. Sorry.
No.
These lights are my babies. I'm taking credit. I want to be like, yes, somebody noticed.
I've heard stories of they're just tunnels for like ventilation, steam tunnels, and utility
maintenance and utilities. Yeah.
But I've also heard stories of there's actually rooms down, vaults.
Oh yeah.
So I'm sure there's
that's a given, but at the same time, I don't find it unbelievable whatsoever that what they said that shit was for is what it's for. Right. You know what I mean? When you have such a massive thing,
right?
If you got somebody that needs to work on the gas line system, something like and it's direct access instead of having to leave, especially with the security clearance thing. Because I actually thought about this when I was like, yeah, if you're supposed to be working on it and you're not a government agency, if you're an outside contractor, you get security clearance once. They give you into the tunnels without access into anything outside of the tunnels from where other than where you're going without a liaison. those tunnels expedite a lot of shit potentially as far as keeping up on the systems and whatever the fuck they got going on. The alien hand jobs. How else are they going to get the Thai massage therapists in there to fucking tug off near snark?
Right. Now everybody's heard of the infamous Hangar 18.
This one I think is the biggest stupid fucking thing of all.
Hangar
it doesn't.
Now,
it's a great urban legend.
Now, you've probably listened to a few podcasts that have had Raymond Shemansky on, right?
Yeah.
That worked there for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
He was an engineer.
39
years. He basically says there's no such thing as a Hangar 18. Now, he says there are buildings and hangars called 18 because I guess it's divided into 4 quadrants, and each quadrant will have an 8 building 18 or whatever.
Yeah. And that's go ahead.
And he even mentioned in his books and everything that, and he would be interested. I would love to talk to his ass.
It's doable.
I think we should try to get him on.
I know that I listened to.
I've heard
the Brohio podcast when they covered this a while back because they're right there.
Yeah, I've heard.
And they actually have Ray Shemansky on the show for that episode.
Yeah, he still lives in Dayton.
I don't know. I just know that I figured it was probably easier. One of them was probably like, "Oh, my dad went to school with him," because they're literally from fucking Dayton. What?
I was just reading Gonzo. I'm just going to ignore Gonzo.
It's so nice to just have to look right there to read comments and shit like that.
But
once we get or we should just get a tiny wireless keyboard on like a little shelf, and I could just sit here and look stuff up while you talk.
Now, if there is such a Hangar 18, may just be this,
it's probably a real thing, but it's probably very benign and normal.
It's the National Air and Space Intelligence Center in a lab.
Yeah,
they're different buildings, but that's all that.
Yeah, because everybody wants to talk about Hangar 18 and this and that and the end. Do you really think that if all this shit is true, if there's really this level of conspiratorial shit going on at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, do you think that they're gonna do it just on a building that's just right there?
No, they're gonna do
no, you fucking idiots! We're talking about aliens. They could probably piss on the wall and melt a hole in it and walk through it. No, they're not gonna do that. They're gonna have them 7 stories underground, which is what I've heard is what they're doing.
Which is very possible. I don't know.
See, and that's why this turned into an opinion piece, because we live a half hour away, give or take with traffic. Literally everybody within, I'd say, 100-mile radius of Wright-Pat can tell you some type of story that they know, or they heard somebody else tell, or their uncle told them, or the neighbor when they were a kid. So everybody has something about Wright-Pat.
Right.
And all of it kind of corroborates in one way, shape, or form. It's just from a different time period or a different person.
Right. Like we said, if they have that shit, it's deep underground. Now, they do research. They probably do. They do. They might have got some of this crash with UFO shit and are trying to reverse engineer. But I do not think they are They've actually reversed. There's no ships there like at Area 51. What if you believe that? They're not flying around.
So I think if we have ships there, I think if we have ships, it's in a place like Wright-Pat, not Area 51.
No,
Area 51 is just it's basically the president. It's the figurehead of UFOs in America.
Really, if you reverse engineer a flying saucer, you're gonna fly it around to Dayton, fucking Ohio.
Why not?
Way too many fucking people. Basically,
have you been to Dayton lately?
I've been to Wright-Pat.
Have you been to Dayton lately?
Yes, I
drive. It's like the meth capital of the world.
But way too many eyeballs.
Minus like Iowa.
Way too many fucking eyeballs.
Not if you have a massive underground facility.
No, you gotta fly the shit. You're gonna fly it out in the desert. The reverse engineer. I believe they're doing scientific experiments on the shit and trying to reverse. They're not flying shit.
See, no, not. But what I find I don't want to say more believable, because all of it is far-fetched, obviously.
Right.
But have you looked into, read about, or thought about thought about the idea of the 7 levels of
this podcast?
No, of the subterranean levels of Wright-Pat.
I've not dived
that
deep.
That's the aliens. That's their that is what they have. That's theirs. And the further down, and they're doing human experimentation. And the further down you go, the worse it gets. Like to the point that I guess from what I've read, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you only go to the bottom if they request you to go there. And if you go down there on their request, there's a pretty good chance you're not coming back up.
Okay.
Like they basically have their own little micro utopia of whatever the fuck they want.
That's what they got fucking Antarctica for, damn it. Why they gotta have Dayton, Ohio? But I just don't think they're flying around. They're not taking any UFO reverse engineered UFOs on a joyride. Now,
which the only way I could really see it is there's one idea is like they just accelerate so rapidly that you just wait till the sun goes down and it's like nobody's gonna notice it. Or I refer you back to what I was saying earlier. How do we know that we're not dealing with very small organisms and they could be fucking drone racing league in those bitches through those tunnels, which sounds funny and shit, but like they really could.
Right. But there is a lot of strange sights. I've seen, I mean,
the city of Dayton, not even just the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
No, but I've seen the only outside of what you and I saw that one day.
Yeah.
Different times. I've seen weird. I've seen I saw a possible UFO. I don't know what it fucking was. It's unidentified to me. Back, what was it? 2020. July 4th of 2020. I was heading out to pick up a kid from the campground and didn't want to spend the night. And this, whatever it was a bright light. It wasn't flashing. It was flying fairly low, but very, very fucking fast. And it was heading north. I was heading south. It was heading north.
See, and the problem with that story, and I'm not saying for me, but the problem with that story, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, it's 4th of July."
No,
but
no,
that being said, what better time to fucking test some shit than 4th of July or Labor Day or some shit like that, where people are fucking shooting guns and popping off fireworks anyway?
This thing went straight. It was not a firework going up and down at an angle. No, this thing flew. I watched it for I actually think I talked about it the next week on the podcast. It was flying straight and it was moving faster than any firework I've ever seen. After this, it
was that Gandalf firework from Lord of the Rings.
It was a plane, probably. It just flying a lot faster.
Well, and it's like we've talked about it before, like that experimental shit. They do test that shit.
Yeah, now
and they do they do in fact do it in inconspicuous places from time to time. Because, like I said, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. When I was like 7 or 8 years old, I can tell you with 100% zero fucking like 100% truth, 0% of me it thinks that this is made up or I didn't see what I saw. Before it was common knowledge that black triangular stealth bomber, one of those flew over my neighborhood when I was a kid, like quite low, which adds to the whole thought process because they're probably low enough that they might not show up on a lot of local radar. And they were testing that.
But
that's what the fuck it was. I was like, it was close enough that I looked up and this was before drugs and shit. I remember specifically seeing that fucking plane that you see all over fucking America, the land of the Coors Light commercials and shit now. And it was that fucking plane.
And it is documented that they did fly that out of there. That's not,
but which with our makes sense because geographically that's
right.
What a literally probably a less than 5-minute flight at a very low speed for any airplane from Dayton to here.
Oh yeah,
a little fucking single propeller plane could make that fucking trip in 5 minutes. Probably. I don't know how.
No,
I could shoot a fucking turd out of my ass and make it halfway to Dayton.
But there's a big difference between flying a secretive military plane that's about to be released, than flying a flying saucer.
Yeah,
there's a big difference. I mean, I can see it at night, but
I'm just saying, like, you could get away with a lot more back then too.
Back then,
there's a lot less cameras handy and shit too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
like, it's just eyewitness testimony.
Well, a lot of people think that the V-shaped UFO is the stealth bomber.
Which I don't know, because that motherfucker was pretty fucking loud.
That's where
Like,
that's where
I don't hear many crazy stories about like engine noise coming from UFOs, and that bitch was fucking loud when it
I've
flew
seen them
over.
do it fly over at like a NASCAR event.
Yeah, they're
But
loud.
not like the fighter.
Yeah,
not the stealth fighter.
Oh, even those. Like,
They're fucking loud. But that's the problem with saying that the V-shaped UFO it's shaped shape-wise at night would probably look like that, but the noise factor and the speed factor.
yeah,
The stealth bomber still is a plane that has to get air going over under those wings to create lift.
yeah, and at that point, if you're like even if you find a way to fucking cancel out the fucking engine noise somehow, you are then at the point where you're dealing with also having to cover up a sonic boom.
Right. And plus, in the speed of the UFO, VUFO is much slower than, it's more like a drift rather than phew.
Yeah.
So
like you never see UFOs like
very
ever.
rarely.
Which is what you would think that's how they would be. If we can move as fast as we can move in the air, you would think something that has the capability of interstellar travel would just like it'd be
like the Tic Tac.
It'd be like fucking, I don't know. It'd be like Shrek. If I was running down the street, it would be like the Roadrunner, just me by me. Like you wouldn't even notice it.
Yeah. So
like you'd be sitting there like, is that a flying saucer floating right there? And then it would do that cartoon thing where you just say, choo, and you just see the smoke, like silhouette of the UFO right there that starts to go away, and it's gone.
Yeah. Okay. We got one more thing to talk about, right, Pat? But I'll kind of give my opinion on here. I do think if there's alien technology, it's probably there, and they're probably doing some research on it. They don't
I would hope.
Or any kind of technology from
even if it's like some Soviet shit,
right?
Like
that's
anything that we can learn something from. Yeah, we should be doing that.
Do they have alien bodies? I don't think so. I don't.
Well,
I'm not.
I do believe it was Ray Shemansky was the one that said. I can't remember. I read. There's so many fucking accounts from this. They get mixed up, but it might not have been Ray Shemansky, but he said he never said anything about bodies that I remember. Or maybe he did. I don't. There's literally a million fucking stories.
He tells a story when he first got there. He worked there.
Yes, he said his mentor told him that there was bodies.
You heard about our aliens. Which,
yeah.
Now I take that as bodies. I wouldn't think you'd say that. Use that verbiage if he's talking about ships. But also, if you listen to tell that story, he was kind of fucking. I don't know if he was joking around or just playing. I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
I mean, he sounds like a really normal guy.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You heard about our
because he sounds like a normal ass dude.
Right.
He doesn't sound like. I'm trying to think of somebody because most of these whistleblower types as of late have been pretty. Oh, what's up, dude? Pretty I don't want to say nonchalant, like normal. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't been like they haven't been like Alex Jones, like Bob Lazar. Calm, collected, not a fucking psycho. Ray Shemansky, super normal.
Right.
I listened to an hour interview with him. Sounds like he sounds like a fucking Northeastern guy.
And you know what? I listened to about 4 podcast interviews with him.
Yeah.
Story is the exact same.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna stop listening to podcasts for research.
Well, I just like to because there's really not like you go on YouTube. You have to.
Well, it's because he's only big in communities like ours.
Right, Pat, alien type shit. You have to dive fucking deep
to not get the same shit over and over again.
But he is probably the best interviewer or interviewee for this topic.
Right.
So I listened to about 4 of his 4 different podcasts that he was, and stories.
I know, because like fucking if we were capable of having a little more organization, which hopefully one day we will, hopefully one day soon. I have 2 days off this week in a row.
Oh damn!
So we can do a fucking Patreon or whatever.
Might do a bonus episode.
I'm down. We could do both. Just do like an hour and a half episode, and then do like an hour for Patreon.
Well, that's about what this episode's gonna be. I'm running out of shit.
But anyway, balls. Oh, like I would have liked to fucking try to get old Herp Derp McFuckbag to do an interview. No, I don't have anything bad to say about him. It's just fun. Ray Shemansky.
Oh yeah, I mean
he does small interviews, but
I listened to one interview.
Who was the other one that I was thinking of? The other perfect example of big whistleblower, Edward Snowden.
I don't need
not on the UFO shit, but like that guy is like the biggest fucking name in whistleblowers from the last however many years. Other than being scared for his life, normal dude.
Motherfucker, I don't want that kind of heat on me.
What?
Fuck,
I'm not saying I agree or follow anything that Edward Snowden said, but
I don't need the government looking into my shit.
They already do. Trust me, I got a voicemail today saying that if I didn't press 1 to get in to be forwarded to the federal agent that was trying to talk to me, they would have to take legal measures against me.
Oh, I've got those before.
I love that shit. Oh boy, they left me a voicemail, guys. I'm going to jail. Like, hey, Travis, this is Sheriff Jones. We're coming for you, boy. Like this isn't Tombstone. Once again, we're going to talk about Tombstone. You're not fucking the federal government is not calling people like, you tell them I'm coming and hell's coming with me. Like, they don't fucking do that shit.
I called one back one time.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Fuck with them.
I love asking. I always ask for their if they say they're from the IRS, I ask for their badge number. Because I looked up a badge number for the IRS has like 5 or 6 digits in it, and they always give you like 13 or like 3, and you're like, oh no, eat my fucking diseased dildo butt plug.
Because they said something about
that is advertised on the World Federation of Curling.
The one that called me said something about the County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah. No, they at least put some effort into it.
Oh yeah, I when I called back, I said it was
as you would if I got a call that said Butler County Sheriff's Office is trying to get a hold of you. I'm going to call and be like, hey, I mean, if worst case scenario, I'm going to jail, but I'd rather fucking call them back and be like, if I'm going to jail, let's fucking get this over with. I don't want to be like have a warrant for evading too.
And the number went right to a desk because it didn't. You think it'd go to a receptionist?
It would,
but the guy answered the phone and sounded legit. But I'm like, where's the receptionist?
This is Mark. What's up?
No, he's a little bit more professional. He said something. He said, and I said, yeah, this is Phil. He said, yeah, we need to have a talk with you. I was like, what we need to talk about? He said, well, I have some questions for you. I was like, what?
Go ahead.
I was like, he goes, well, you got time to answer these questions? I said, no, I'm right outside. I'm coming in.
Yeah.
Talk in person. Which I wasn't, but
right.
Of course, I just live right down the street from him now, but this is like 4 or 5 years ago. I said, no, I'm in the parking lot. I'm getting ready to walk in. Where's your office? The motherfucker hung up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. I did that to the first one that almost got me because I was younger. And then I started thinking about it and looking into it. Because this guy was like, first off, he had a Asian accent. Bad start for saying that you're calling me from the United States government.
Well, maybe they
it was like a heavy, poorly trained accent. And then he's telling me that I owe this much to the IRS or they're going to send a warrant to the local authorities. And I'm like, that's not how the IRS does things.
No, they send mail first.
Yes. And usually for most people, they're not going to arrest you anyway if you owe taxes because then they're not going to get their money.
Not unless you're millions upon millions.
Yes. Right. Or you're currently evading taxes. If you got caught on an audit, you're probably not going to jail because they're just going to go, well, now you just owe us more money. Fuck you.
Right.
But he also suggested that if I don't have the money, I go to my bank and try to get a personal loan for the amount of the money. And when I go to the bank to get the personal loan, I should keep him on the line in my pocket while I talk to my banker.
Oh, that sounds official.
I was like, yeah, okay, bud.
I'm going to get right on that, buddy.
Anyway. I was like, how about I go in the bathroom and keep you in my pocket and I take a huge, juicy fucking Skyline shit while I just yank on my just sad little fucking like Play-Doh extrusion toy dick and just there's your $2,700. Fuck you.
So aliens are not the only thing at Wright-Pat. Apparently.
Betty White's house.
Yes. What the fuck's Betty White got to do with
That
anything?
woman is a fucking national treasure. You watch your goddamn mouth.
I know.
I can't believe she's still. She's alive.
Last I heard you, I don't. Unless she passed like recently.
She was hot back in the day too.
She was.
Moving on.
Apparently, there are ghosts at Wright-Pat.
Oh yeah,
it is haunted
in multiple places.
In multiple places, especially the there's the cemetery. There's a cemetery, but a lot of the activity is in the museum.
Shocker.
Which that makes a lot of sense. And even Ghost Hunters did an episode from Wright-Pat back in the day.
Well, Ghost Hunters did. Do they do all of it, or do they do?
I know they did the museum, and they did
the captain's house.
They did like 3 different places.
One of them was the house of the captain something.
Right, and did the museum, and then I want to say another
Anderson,
and there was another. I think they were in an office at one of the office buildings that had some activity.
Sounds like a great place to shoot amateur porn.
Right, but the.
Damn it, Becky, if you don't file my paperwork right one more time, I'm going to give you an injection of love potion.
But the actual museum makes a lot of sense because those are...
like, no shit. This is a flying war machine that has caused the death and demise and suffering of thousands. It is not haunted. We're moving on.
But I even think one of the helicopters has blood on the seat.
Yeah.
So I'm big on the energy, when it comes to residual haunting, the energy that is released when something bad happens and when somebody gets shot, or even
that blood is just a literal stain on the surface.
So it does not surprise me that there is some sort of activity in the actual museum with all
that'd be fucking hilarious though, to have that tour if somebody was actually like that. It's like, this Apache helicopter has destroyed 17 third world villages in under 4 minutes of its flight time. 7,000 people have died at its hands. 13 pilots have had heart attacks inside of it. We're not sure why. Now, does anybody want to know what it feels like to put on a helmet from the 1940s? Come on, kids.
I've only been there. I've been there once, but I was like first grade.
Like, it's just been an absolute pleasure touring you lovely Catholic school kids around here. I hope you had the best day. Father, what are you doing? Nothing.
It's been like over probably 40 years since last time I was there.
Well, I mean, the last time I was there, I wasn't even there. The last time I went to... Yeah, the last time I went there, I was still in my last serious relationship, and I think it was when we were taking her little sister up to Wright State. Was like the closest I've been to Wright-Pat.
Actually, I went on the base. I had to go.
I don't think I've ever actually been on Wright-Pat. I know my mom's boyfriend worked there when I was a kid.
I had to go on the base. I was taking somebody. I was taking an ex. She knew somebody on the base.
Yeah, like you can. I know you can. Like, it's not difficult to get onto the Air Force. It's difficult to get to a certain point.
But I was only at the residential.
Yeah, like we could drive up there right now and be like, "I got a pizza," and like they'd probably let us in.
No,
as long as we had the light.
They asked me about that. What are you doing? The pizza were there, and we had to have. I think they had to call and have us verified.
Just pull up like, "What the fuck are you doing here? I'm here to suck dick for money."
Go on in.
You're in the wrong place. The Navy's on the East Coast.
Oh, we just lost all our naval listeners.
That's not the first Navy joke I've made.
Yeah, but
the last one was at least about who was it? It was like L. Ron Hubbard or some shit.
Yeah,
that's psycho.
So I don't know.
L. Ron Hubbard is probably a fucking alien.
Well, yeah.
I mean, he the Scientology believes in aliens.
And that's who
Thetans.
Yeah,
well, Thetans your soul.
Xanadu, whatever the fuck. No, but you know what? I believe there's more ghosts than aliens at Wright-Pat.
I mean, it's got fucking Indian burial grounds literally peppering the perimeter of the fucking property.
And plus, there's a lot of,
And I think there's a little cluster of Indian burial mounds within the fence of the fucking complex.
Yeah. I mean, they've found some serious.
You had sexy time with a Navy girl before. Was his name Jim?
Bob? Steve?
I'm coming stoned more often. This has been fun.
Where was I at? Well, shit, you should have told me.
I didn't. I just been
guess
fucking. I've been playing with this thing. It was faulty earlier. Somebody gave it to me and it wasn't working properly, so I made it work.
You had to test it.
Oh yeah,
well, we got to. Where was I at? Oh, but I think earlier we spoke about there have been sightings in and around this area. It's pretty active UFO, unidentified flying objects.
it also has one of the larger Air Force bases in the United States there.
But the theory that they are UFOs are interested in our nuclear capability. At one time, we had Fernault down the road here, Wright-Pat, and Wright-Pat had nuclear power, if I'm not mistaken, underground. So there were some nuclear signatures coming from Wright-Pat.
Well, like I said, they had an environmental problem where they were leaking environmentally harmfully material into like the air and the groundwater around Dayton. And then like within that year, they were like, well, we did this. And they said, well, the EPA tested it's under EPA limitations, and which I guess still to this day is disputed by the local government of Dayton, that they say that that's bullshit. Those EPA numbers are not correct.
I even heard one story, I think was from Szymanski. Apparently they were doing some digging to build, a building or something. And they actually found bombs from the Cold War, I guess.
Well, they did. They did an expansion during the Cold War.
They were chemical bombs, and some of them were active, like anthrax type shit. How we didn't?
But did they bring the noise?
Yeah, with Flavor Flav and Chuck D.
Flavor Flav. Let me see. There's so much fucking shit in here.
That's pretty much all I got. I don't think there's aliens up there. There might be.
See, and this is my thing with all of this shit is like the way that it's set up, the amount of acronyms that are fucking attached to it. Like it's like somebody has tried to make this fucking
complex.
Yes, and confusing to the layman person that doesn't speak fucking government,
such as ourselves.
Yeah, 9 + 10 is 21.
It is.
Do I even have it? See what I'm saying? There's literally every page there's a new one. Air Force Nuclear Weapons Center, Air Force Research Laboratory, Air Force Sustainment Center, Air Force Test Center. There's 30 different fucking coalitions. Technical base, the Army Air Force's technical base. There's that too. December 15th, 1945, by Brigadier General Joseph T. Moore. Like there's just literally everywhere. They're just adding new acronyms and new shit. Here it is. I got it.
Got it.
In May 2016, the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency ordered a drinking water well on the base to be shut down because of water contamination with perfluoroctane sulfonate, a persistent chemical used in firefighting foam. Yeah.
Huh.
April 2016, water samples from 2 wells showed 110 parts per trillion of PFOS, which is yet another acronym for this, whatever this sulfonate is, which is above the new EPA lifetime threshold of 70 parts per trillion. In June 2016, the EPA asked the base commander to speedily clean up the wells to prevent the contaminants from reaching more wells on base and Dayton's 7 drinking water wells at Huffman Dam. Base officials stated in June 2020 that the on-base groundwater tests, apparently I don't have these in order, but yeah, I don't even need it from there. They said that the groundwater test came back and they were within the EPA limitations, and I guess the whole city of Dayton has just been like, that's fucking bullshit, you know it.
Well,
So throw that in. That's always good. You covered, there we go, Project Mogul. You covered that. The Skyhook balloon, we covered that.
Was that the Japanese one?
No, that's the one you covered.
Oh,
the Japanese one. I can't remember the name that they had for that one. A bunch of Project Mogul was the big one. The Project Mogul paraphernalia. They use that word a lot in there, which I find funny. The weather balloon stuff, the paraphernalia. Just stuff, as you can see, things.
Look at you.
This whole thing is just about Hangar 18. And I read it, and I was like, I don't even know why I printed you out. That was dumb as fuck. The Hangar 18 is the biggest crock of shit.
It's a nice story
in this whole story. It's literally, if it is anything, if the most, in my mind, the most legitimate thing that the Hangar 18 farce, whatever the fuck you want to call it, story, the number one thing that probably would be is just a load of horse shit for people, for them to expect you to hold on to. Because if they give you a physical place, that makes most people believe more in it, because they're like, look at that one had the 1-8 on it. It says 1749842, but there's the 1 and an 8. That's the hangar. That's where the bad men are. That's where the green men with the long fingers for their buttholes go.
So do you think something crashed at Roswell?
I don't know. If it's happened, that was it.
You think that's the only time?
No.
Oh.
But if it's happened and anybody knew about it, that was it. I also wouldn't be surprised if Crater Lake had something to do with some type of UFO thing back in the day.
Well, what's weird about Roswell, you know, a few days before, I think it was Mount Rainier, there was a sighting, a multiple UFO sighting of flying saucers. One of the first official sightings from a private pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly. It was before Roswell, but not like years. It was just, I think, a couple days or a week or whatever. So UFOs have been flying around that time. But the problem with Roswell is they came out with the UFO flying saucer, weather balloon, then changed it to weather balloon. That's like, where are you at? I was out. No, I wasn't fucking your sister. I was with your grandma, kind of thing. No.
Yeah.
I believe you said if you were just with my sister, I would believe that more than you were with my grandma. So you were fucking my sister.
Well,
kind of thing. You know?
Well, and it's like, even the people that say that it wasn't a weather balloon that were there, they still describe stuff that is, considering that it's the 40s, could still be a weather balloon. Well, like, it was a metal material, but it was malleable and blah blah blah. Much like the fucking what the fuck is it? Mylar? I think that's what they made them out of. Was it Mylar that they made those balloons out of?
I think so, yeah.
Like, which is a basically super thin tinfoil. Well, that's what it looks like.
Well, Mylar's
so yeah, some hill jack firefighter from 1947 probably saw that and was like, good God.
But most of the reports came from Jesse Marcel.
Yeah, because he looked like a real.
He was an intelligence officer. He was an officer.
Did you see that man's face?
That one picture is when, and the story was given. He came out. He was signed. He had signed Disclosure Act, and he accidentally thought that somebody else had talked, so that's why he started talking back in his later years. And it is reported, and he's even said that was a staged photo, and that's why his face looks like that. It was like, and they made him.
Well, hopefully that's true.
They made
because
him to look out. They basically made him to look like they threw him under the bus to do this cover.
Well, there's always one,
and of course you're gonna look like that. Really?
There's like Edward Snowden. Same thing. I think he's just a scapegoat too. Because if all the shit Edward Snowden came out about was true, and they didn't want anybody why is he alive? He'd be fucking dead.
He's in Russia. That's why he's alive.
Still. Oh, because that stopped us ever.
I don't believe we've ever. I'm pretty sure we never invaded fucking Russia.
No, all we got to do is call Russia and be like, "Hey, Russia, take care of this shit for us, and won't stop you from from changing the result of our election."
You think Russia would? Oh, hey, will you do us a favor and off this guy? Fuck no. This guy's he's a thorn in your ass. We're gonna keep his fucking ass alive.
I don't know.
Just
if I was Russia, I'd do it.
Putin keeping him alive is a big fuck you, boys.
I'd do it if I was Putin. I'd be like, he has too much heat. Kill him. Kill this man. Give him a lot of vodka. Make it look like accident.
No, they would keep his ass alive just to be a thorn in our ass.
Just stick him in Siberia.
No, that motherfucker's living the high life.
I hope not. It'd be funnier if he wasn't.
No, actually, I'm sorry.
Like, he's just got one of those like fucking rundown CDS fucking one room apartments.
Well, here's the thing. We better be thanking him. They were doing some. Obama was doing some fucked up, crazy shit.
Well, they all do.
But at least now we know about it. Of course, then you get these idiots.
Because it's changed anything.
And then you get these idiots now that obviously can't read or can't form a normal fuck. You can't look at something and say, oh, that's not right. They just go along with the flow.
Yeah.
Don't let the facts get in the way, the evidence get in the way of your fucking agenda.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of, not speaking of, because it has nothing to do with this. But back to what we were talking about earlier. Did you catch the Teamster the Teamster mafia thing story about the bodies at Wright-Pat?
No, I did not hear it.
Supposedly, not that it is Teamster, it's just some Teamster level shit.
So Hoffa's not
supposedly, no, but it's Hoffa-esque. Supposedly, there is 8 extraterrestrial bodies buried underneath the structure of a parking garage in Dayton. Which that came up, and I'm like, okay, people. I can be a bit of a conspiracy theorist. We know this. I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist. I would say that I am willing to reach into the depths of information that I can find about stuff that might be true or interesting. But let's think about this for 1 second. The United States government and the United States military have the bodies of aliens, extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
They've been studying them. They've been doing this. Who knows? They might have been alive at one point. They might have their technology. You're fucking telling me that the best that the U.S. fucking government can do with their little buddies that they found from the spaceship is flip florp, the last one died. What are we going to do, Captain? No, we're not going to experiment on them. We're not going to dissect them. We're not going to freeze them or put them in formaldehyde to save them for later technologies. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to bury them under a fucking parking garage. Okay.
So,
United States government, that's what they did.
Let me get this straight. By this time, we had already dropped the bomb. We had the bomb.
Oh, you're talking about like
atomic bomb,
fat man, little boy. Yeah.
We had these.
Yeah, we had already used them.
Right. So
because this would be post Roswell, and Roswell didn't have until 47.
Right. So they just decided to bury the bodies, do this old mafia.
That's what I'm saying.
Worry. Do they not have an incinerator somewhere?
That's what I said.
Somebody light a fucking match.
That's what the fuck I said. What, are they unburnable?
Of course, this could be why. Obviously, the military is not that smart this time. This could be why
you can burn diamonds. You can't burn an alien.
We got our ass handed to us in basically Korea and Vietnam.
That's kind of my other point. If we had alien technology, but also, that's how
it goes back to World War II, and we've covered this. Did Hitler have fucking help from extraterrestrials? Obviously not, because he got his ass kicked. Or did he?
So you're saying that the Vietnamese had alien technology?
No, I'm just saying that.
No, they did us one better. They had holes in the ground and poop sticks.
They didn't fight fair. It was
of course they didn't fight fair, because there was no fucking reason for us to be over there fucking them up in the first place.
Here's literally what it was like. Vietnam War. I was not alive then. Well, I guess toward the 10. I think it was over by the time I was born. With us fighting them was like the British fighting us in the Revolution. Basically, the British, the way you fought wars, according to the British back then, was everybody gets in a big line and just start walking toward each other.
Just fucking stand there.
You just start walking toward each other. No, we got a little guerrilla warfare going on. Basically, what happened, we weren't. And plus, whenever you're fighting on somebody's home turf, they're going to fight a little bit harder to defend that shit.
And I say again, the Vietnamese were using poop as a weapon.
That's why I get a kick out of when people talk about, not that I'm promoting things in this country getting a little crazy and people revolting.
Yeah.
And people say, well, you're going to fight the military, they will bring the Marines and Army in. I say it didn't work. How'd that work out for the military in Vietnam?
Right.
And I guarantee you one thing, the U.S. average citizen, there's more guns floating around the U.S. than in Vietnam at the time.
Yeah, and I'm sure that we're just as capable of digging holes and then pooping on sticks. But yeah, that one was the whole alien bodies buried under a parking garage was the most fucking ridiculous thing to me out of all of this. Okay, so this one of the same like stories behind the disappearance and the location of Jimmy Hoffa. We're gonna fucking tie that into aliens now too. What, General? All the aliens have passed away. What should we do with their remains? I want you to take those tree bodies, and I want you to go down there to my cousin Vinny's construction site. He'll take real good care of you. You bring him a capicola sandwich and a bottle of wine. He's gonna get rid of those fucking bodies for you. And I want you to stop at Joe Pesci's house and call him a motherfucker. And then I want you to come back here. Speaking
of Hoffa, I was watching. I like that mafia shit every now and then.
I love all mafia shit. I will say though, The Irishman was an hour and a half too long.
What was it closer to like 2 hours too fucking long?
This movie was like almost 4 hours or some shit like that.
No.
They've tried. Plenty of fucked up nations have tried that, which we should talk about that after we're done. That subject I sent you.
What subject? Oh,
which I would be interested in doing, but if we do that, we're going to have to do a disclaimer at the beginning.
Yes.
Like that one, out of all the shit we talk about and the way we talk, that one actually deserves a viewer discretion and listener discretion advised. Because holy fuck.
Put the women and children to bed before you listen.
Dude. Put half the dudes to bed. A lot of guys, like even I was listening to shit and reading shit about that subject that I was like, that is literally the worst sentence I've ever read in my entire fucking life. I thought that reading about this.
He wants to know what it is.
Yeah, well,
You'll find out in due
maybe.
Time. But getting back to Hoffa, there's the one mob guy that's he's out now. Not
Michael Francis.
I think
the one that Al Pacino's character was based on loosely.
I think that's him, but I guess he's been interviewed. Apparently, he knows what happened to Hoffa.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you see the interview? There's a video of him saying, "I won't tell you where he is, but I'll just tell you he's wet,
and you'll never find the body."
Yeah,
yeah. Because the guy, he said, "I'm not going to tell you."
Mm-hmm. Which that doesn't, like everybody was like, he's under the Giant Stadium. No, blah, blah, blah. No, he's not. He got dumped somewhere, and he's like, you'll never find the body because it doesn't exist anymore.
Probably.
If anything, there's
a fucking swamp.
If anything, there's bones, and they're spread out over a 10,000-mile area. Right. Like, it's a different kind of wet because when Michael Francis, who, no, he's not.
I've seen him.
Actually, I think they loosely based, I'm pretty sure, Michael Corleone on him from Godfather. But he is. They actually say his name and reference him in Goodfellas when he's walking through the bar, and he was like, all the big hitters were there. There was blah blah blah, Michael Francisi, and I was like, you said his name wrong. You're literally making a movie about his world in which he was royalty because his father was a high-ranking member of that family too. And you said his fucking name wrong. Get your fucking head out of your ass, Ray Liotta. This is why you ended up being on the face on the fucking jar of honey in the B movie, that fucking Seinfeld shit. Yeah, Ray Liotta's fucking honey farm or some shit like that. It's in that movie.
I was never a big Ray, even though Goodfellas is an amazing movie. I mean, anything with Joe Pesci in it. In that fucking realm.
You said what do you mean I'm fucking funny?
If I amuse you. And apparently, I saw a special.
Joe Pesci is the best at getting away with being racist, too.
That wasn't in the script. Do I amuse you? That whole classic line.
Every good thing from any good movie is
he
not
actually
scripted.
saw that exchange in, because he was connected in real life.
Mm-hmm.
This, I don't.
Well, yeah, he was one of the wet bandits.
Yeah, he was connected. He saw this exchange in.
Did you prefer sticky bandits?
How dare you mention Home Alone on this podcast? But he said that was he visually saw that exchange in real life.
Yeah,
and he went to Scorsese and told him about it. He said, "Let's try this."
it's funny how well-known producers and directors that actually listen to people can succeed so greatly, isn't it?
It is.
When you're not like fucking who was it? Not the regular mafia, but this one was the Mexican mafia. Excuse me. Edward James Olmos.
Yes.
That stupid son of a bitch.
Yeah, what about
him? From what I've heard, multiple people have been killed, and there was a legitimate hit out on him because of how he ended up making American Me. Have you ever seen American Me?
I don't think so.
American Me is about the formation of the Mexican mafia, and has actual named characters that are actual members of the Mexican mafia, founding members of the like Peg Leg Joe. He's a white guy. Grew up in a Mexican neighborhood, talked like a fucking cholo Mexican dude from LA and all that shit, and had a fake leg because he got it basically blown off when he was younger. But Edward James Olmos portrayed the founding father, I guess, of the Mexican mafia as that he had been raped in a juvenile camp, which was not true. And shit went south, and I guess
they didn't like that liberty that he was taking.
No, they did not.
No, they didn't have.
And I guess there was an actual contract on Edward James Olmos' head, and he didn't even know it. He had heard stuff, inklings, and he was like, "No, it's fine. They were nice guys." And you know who saved his ass?
Who?
Danny Trejo.
That's a bad motherfucker, right?
Because Danny Trejo is very upfront about the fact that he never joined a gang, but he rolled with the gangsters and shit like that.
Didn't he serve time for murder too?
I know he served time. I don't know. I don't remember exactly for what, but he's the one that saved. He fucking because I forget if he was in American Me or if he was in another film that almost did, and Edward James Olmos, I think, came to him and he was like this, and this, and then or maybe he went to Edward James. No, he went to him and he was like, Eddie, you shouldn't have done that. They want to kill you, and if they want to kill you, they're gonna kill you. And somehow, since he had good standing with a lot of those guys still, because I guess he kind of went straight from prison into acting on a happenstantially, and I guess he pulled some strings from his end and got that hit pulled off of Edward James Olmos' head somehow.
Well, we really been missing much.
What if they'd killed him?
Yeah,
that's the only movie I know that he's made.
In, the reboot of
who? Edward James Olmos?
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica, the reboot.
Never saw it. I've seen Battlestar Galactica,
the original. He was in. He did a season.
A really hot redhead. Oh yeah, we're pretty much done. What's up though?
What's up? Thanks for coming. He was in a season of Dexter.
Was he really?
Yeah, with Colin Hanks. They were the bad. What else was he in?
Oh no, he's lucky. He's lucky Danny Trejo was there to save his life.
Well, I think we've covered enough. We've covered Right, Pat.
Couple movies.
We've covered
made yet another Tombstone reference. Talked about sex toys and curling.
Yep.
I want to
talked about my.
You would think that curling would be like, yeah, bring it on. We'll take all the advertising we can get.
Was
it really that bad, Mr. Curling Man? Motherfucker, the whole goddamn stadium has one really, 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 really long McDonald's sign around it. We only have one. God damn.
So don't know what we're going to do. We might do a bonus episode or a Patreon episode this week.
We have to do Patreon.
We'll do a Patreon.
if nothing else.
What do you want? You just think about what you want to talk about.
I mean, we always watch a movie or a show and do that too. That's pretty easy, not to sound like it's a throwaway.
What days do you have off?
Tomorrow and Thursday.
So you want to do one?
And then I don't.
Thursday night?
I'm trying to think. Yeah.
Okay.
We could do tomorrow. One of those two.
Pick a movie on Amazon Prime.
All right.
Because since we both have Amazon Prime, pick a scary one on, pick a classic. Like Salem's Lot or something. Find an old classic.
Are you watching the new Evil Dead?
No.
Oh, it's better than the original. That remake is legitimately creepier than the original one.
Well, Gonzo, if you was around more often, our Patreon episodes, we do movie reviews.
Oh yeah, and you're fucking right. We're gonna watch it together because Phil's got a fucking giant ass TV now that's like 7 inches away from your face when you're in the living room, and it's curved.
It's like large and in charge.
It's curved like my penis backwards back into my body.
All right, we're out of here. We will be looking for that. Be sure to.
We don't even fucking have the Patreon scrolls and shit because we're on fucking YouTube Live.
Hopefully, we'll get this shit fixed soon. I don't know what the fuck to do.
I'm hoping maybe it's just like maybe we just need more power. Like maybe that new PC will help and like it'll just be able to handle.
So we'll probably. I think next week we're just going to do this way again, or until we get the new PC. So we will see you next Monday for sure for episode 160
or Tuesday or whatever.
Or what I said.
Things will probably settle down a little bit here soon. I think I will be back to probably being able to pick my schedule soon.
Next Tuesday we will be back for episode 160. We will do a Patreon episode. Be sure to go to patreon.com/GITN podcast if you want to get the bonus materials like these movies reviews.
Movies,
yes, and some other bonus material.
Reviews.
We working on the TikTok. We got a couple videos up.
I got another one. I have to get used to the editing. I have to play around with TikTok more. There's just so many editing things. Make it money. I can't just make it a day.
We're hoping to get.
I have like a fucking 6 to 7 day a week job that I'm working right now. I'm not doing it Tuesday night by choice.
Eventually, we hopefully can get back to a Sunday.
That would be fantastic.
At 6:00. That way I can get this shit out Monday morning.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But we are the TikTok shit is actually you guys will know we're doing some YouTube shorts too, which are basically the same videos.
And Instagram reels.
Instagram reels. But be sure to follow us on all the socials. Twitter at @night_ghost, ghost_night_podcast, Instagram, TikTok, GITN.podcast, Facebook, Ghost of the Night. Just search it. Be sure to follow us on all those. Be sure to listen to the podcast on however you take in the podcast. And those of you listening, be sure to join the YouTube. Go to YouTube and subscribe to the channel. That would be awesome.
Yeah, definitely follow us on Instagram. If you want to see the fire memes,
yes,
that's where they go. I mean, I put them on Twitter too, but Twitter does get left behind sometimes just because it's Twitter. I hate Twitter. It's so up and down. Like I every time I get on, I check our followers, and it's like, oh, you lost 5. 20 minutes later, you gained 6. 5 minutes later, you lost 12. 3 minutes later, you gained 14. Like, it's so fucking stupid.
But that's really those are the best ways to follow us. But like I said, if you subscribe, however you listen to the podcast, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn,
Buttholes,
Podbean. Anyway, however you listen
Amazon.
To it, Amazon.
I keep forgetting we're on Amazon now.
Probably on Audible too, probably.
They have podcasts on Audible?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, we have video on Spotify too.
We didn't last week.
Why? Because you couldn't record.
I wasn't uploading it. I wasn't waiting 8 hours to fucking upload that thing.
Dude, it's got to be the computer
to export. It takes longer to export something.
I know that, but like even then, like it shouldn't take with that PC, it should.
I don't think I'm going to do the videos anymore because if you notice, there's no ad. There was no ad for the first.
Is that what it is?
That's why there was no ad. I just did the audio and could put the ad back on.
I was wondering.
Right. No, that's
Yeah, definitely put the ad back on.
Yeah, so
because
I-
it's not like we're making
Right.
like we're barely making any money off that ad, but it's something because everything that goes into that account goes back into the show.
right. So it's, I mean, yeah, I mean,
And we haven't even pulled from the account to add back into the show yet. I bought the lights, which I'm not like bitching about that, but
but
we might as well wait till we have a
so
little chunk.
there will probably be no video on Spotify, or maybe every other one or something. Every now and then I might throw it up.
It'll be more worth it once we get like a backdrop going and shit like that.
Right. But hopefully, Facebook, be sure to follow us on Facebook because
we might be going live on Facebook
doing
soon.
live on YouTube and Facebook, especially since
oh yeah. Is there a way can we set that shit up in YouTube? Our overlays and shit?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna look that up.
Well, once we get that computer coming, that should be plenty of power because that's basically going to be the only thing on that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, and plus, like one of the hard drives on that is like the external hard drive I bought last week.
Yeah,
one of those hard drives is 2 terabytes.
Right. So, and that's going to be the only thing on there. It's basically, I figure, just use that just for the live stream. So we're rambling.
And porn, of course.
No. We will see you definitely next Tuesday.
Porn.
Take care, everybody. We love you.
Porn.
Say goodnight, Travis.
Plugs, raccoons in the asshole.
All right, we're out of here. I'm done. I'm ending this shit.
Racism.